Good morning, dear teacher, dear community. Welcome to Blue Cliff Monastery. Before we start, let us come back to our breathing. Establish ourselves in the present moment. Let go of any worries, thinking. Come back to the present. Enjoy our in-breath and our breath and our togetherness. We will listen to 3 sounds of the bell and let the sound of the bell penetrate us. Relax all the muscles in our body, releasing all the tension. We will begin with a short guided meditation on the breath and the body. So let us enjoy 3 sounds of the bell now. Breathing in, I am aware of my in-breath. Breathing out, I am aware of my out-breath. Aware of in-breath, aware of out-breath. Breathing in, I follow my in-breath from the beginning to the end. Breathing out, I follow my out-breath from the beginning to the end. Following in-breath, following out-breath. Breathing in, I am aware of my whole body. Breathing out, I smile to my whole body. Aware of body, smiling. Breathing in, I relax my whole body. Breathing out, I calm my whole body. Relaxing body, calming body. Breathing in, I enjoy my in-breath. Breathing out, I enjoy my out-breath. Enjoying in-breath, enjoying out-breath. Thank you for your practice. Again, welcome to Blue Cliff Monastery. My name is Brother Pháp Khôi, and I have a chance to share with you today on the occasion of Vesak. So today is May 19th, in the year 2024, and that is the solar, the Gregorian calendar. But there's also a Buddhist calendar, and this is the year 2568 Buddhist calendar. That is counting from the day the Buddha passed away. But if we push back 80 years to the time that the Buddha was born, then today we're celebrating his 2648th birthday. Happy birthday, Buddha. In Vietnam, as in other Buddhist countries, and I said Buddhist countries because the majority of the practitioners are Buddhists. And so in a country like Vietnam, although we have a date set for the Buddha's birthday celebration, which is the full moon of the 4th month, the lunar month. And in the solar calendars, usually fall in May, like this year. And the full moon is, I think, 3 days away. And today is the 12th day of the lunar month. And so besides that one date set, Vesak is actually considered a season. Sort of like we have a Christmas day, but we also enjoy Christmas season, right? It actually lasted a few weeks. And so in places where there are monasteries and temples that are close in proximities, they usually select different dates to celebrate so that they can visit each other and celebrate the Buddha's birthday more than one time. And it also allowed the lay practitioners to go to all the different monasteries and temples to celebrate. And I think that's a wonderful way of celebrating the Buddha. So Vesak, it was decided by Buddhists. There was a convention of sort or a conference where all the Buddhist leaders from different countries and came. This is in years past, and decided on Vesak. So instead of just celebrating the Buddha's birthday, it was decided that Vesak is a day to celebrate the Buddha's life, with 3 auspicious times in his life, and that is his birth, his enlightenment, and his passing away. It's comprised his whole life. And so we're gathering here today to do just that. So I'd like to take a moment, or maybe a few moments, to recount the Buddha's life for those of us who are new. So he was named Siddhartha Gautama. He was born in Lumbini, which is now Nepal, and his kingdom is called Kapilavastu. You don't need to know any of, or to remember any of these terms. You can read about them if you wish. And he was born to King Suddhodana and Queen Maya. But after a few days of his birth, his mother passed away. And so he was raised by his maternal aunt, but also stepmother, Queen Mahaprajapati Gotami. He has half-siblings, sister called Sundari, Nanda, and a brother Nanda. He also has cousins. And if you read about the story of the Buddha, you will know these characters. Yes? You have a question? Just raising her hand, so I thought she has a question. He lived a princely life with material luxury. Got married at about 29 years of age to Princess Yashodhara, and had a son named Rahula. Though living in luxury, he experienced a lot of suffering all around him, in his kingdom and in himself. Things are impermanent, but we want them to be permanent. And that's why we suffer. And he's no different than us at that time. So he just carried around this angst. What to do? There must be another way. He is set to succeed the throne. But he saw that his father didn't really have any real power. The power are in all the generals, and there were infightings, there were corruption, there was power struggles, and he thought he did not want to get involved in things like that. There is a deep question within that he wants to seek answers to. And so he left home and sought the way out. So after a number of years, at the age of 35, he found the way. He found the answer. It's called the middle way. And then from that point on, he sought out people to share this new experience, this new path. And he first found his 5 ascetic friends who practiced with him before to share this teaching, and then later on share with other people. He was called a Buddha, and that is an Indian term for an awakened person. And people called him Shakyamuni, Buddha Shakyamuni. And Shakya is the name of his clan. And Muni is a term denotes a person who is silent, who is calm, a sage. And so, loosely translated, is a sage of the Shakya clan, Shakyamuni. This morning when we did sitting meditation, and after our sister chanted the morning chant, and there we recited the name of the Buddha 3 times. Namo Shakyamuni Buddhaya. Namo is I return to take refuge in the sage of the Sakyan clan, loosely translated. And the teaching that he shared is called the Dharma. He also was also called Gautama Buddha. In his time, there were many spiritual practitioners in various traditions. So when they came and addressed him, or asked him questions, or even debated with him, they would call him Gautama. That's his last name. So the teachings he shared is called the Dhamma. And of course we also know Dhamma is also a very generic term in Sanskrit. It denotes all phenomena of the world. And so for us to make a distinction that we can, so that we can understand, when we refer Dhamma and we write it as a capital D, that means, that refers to the teachings of the Buddha. And the small d is all phenomenon. And then the community, he started a community of practice of those who wish to follow his teaching, and they're called the Sangha. The community of monks, and then a few years later, nuns, practicing together. So the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha together called the 3 jewels. And these 3 jewels encapsulate the scope and the preciousness of the 3. So I would just write it on the board for you. We don't have the black ink pen, so to use red. I hope you can see from the back. So the Buddha, after enlightenment, he continued to practice and share his experience with many other people for 45 years. So he did that non-stop. He traveled on foot throughout the kingdom and the vicinity kingdoms to share his teaching and to show people how to practice in order to attain liberation as he did. And many people heeded his call, became his followers. There were also those who took up the monastic vows and followed him and studied directly under him. And these people included his mother, his stepmother, his wife, his son, and also some of his cousins. And the people from court, from his palace, many followed him, left the palace life and followed him. I remember growing up studying the story of the Buddha, and we have tests to study to check our knowledge. And one of the tricky questions would be, what is the name of the Buddha's wife and the Buddha's son? And we're like, oh yeah, we know. Yasodhara, Rahula. And then we were marked wrong. And we were like, why? What? And then so the supposedly correct answer is the Buddha did not marry. The Buddha has no wife. The Buddha is a celibate person. So we're like, oh, that's tricky. So apparently the correct answer would be Siddhartha, the prince. What was the prince's wife's name? What was the prince's son's name? And not the Buddha's wife. But when we talk and when we share, we just say, oh, the Buddha's wife. And so people might mistaken for, oh, he's a Buddha, but he also has a wife. Former wife. She followed and became a nun. His mother also became a nun, and his son became a monk. And so he did not run away to find an answer for himself. He found the answer and came back and shared with them and helped them to be liberated, just as he did. And for 2,600 years, the Dharma continues to bring joy, to bring peace and liberation to countless generations of practitioners. The Sangha also continues through many generations, and now it's all over the world. People practice the Dharma to experience transformation of their suffering, healing. They experience joy, how to cultivate joy, how to cultivate happiness. They create conditions for those things to manifest. And as they go deeper into the practice, they're able to touch freedom and liberation. And the Sangha continues to this day. And any of us can study and practice. And we don't have to be a Buddhist to practice the teachings of the Buddha. It is not meant to be doctrines. The Buddha's teachings, and he taught many throughout the 45 years. His teachings are not doctrines to kill, to fight, or die for. His doctrines are roadmaps that we use to navigate our lives. And as you know, with roadmaps, they need to be updated, right? They need to be revised, improved, in order to keep their relevance, in order to keep their usefulness, their applicability. Remember the days when we had to use the paper maps from AAA? And then we had GPS, and now we have cell phones with Google Maps. But once in a while, if we ran out of battery, then we still refer to the paper maps. Even though we know that there are new roads now, there are probably different destinations. So the Dharma of the Buddha is similar. It should be revised and updated so that it can continue to benefit people. People of this century, 21st century, or 26th century if you count the Buddha's calendar. And our teacher Thầy has tried to do his part in updating Buddhism. One of the concrete practices that express the core teachings of the Buddha, the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path, is the practice of the 5 precepts. And Thầy has updated it and called it the 5 mindfulness trainings, or the 5 precious trainings. The Sangha is the living expression and continuation of the Buddha. It has grown, in the past, the Sangha is just considered the monastic Sangha, the monks and the nuns. But it has since grown to, the definition has grown to include non-monastic practitioners too. And that means everyone. Everyone can benefit from the teaching of the Buddha if we apply them into our own lives. So what did the Buddha teach? What did he discover? What was his message? One can say his message is that all beings have the capacity to wake up, to become awakened. And this capacity can be described in terms of seeds, potential. The two that we often hear about in our teacher's talk is the seed of understanding and the seed of love, or wisdom and compassion. These two are the core quality of an awakened being, hence the Buddha. But because, and we have these seeds in us too, but because we are clouded over by the energy of greed, hatred, and ignorance, that we filled our life with affliction. We suffer and we make other people suffer. But this new path that he found, the middle way, if we study, if we understand, if we apply them into our own lives, then we can transform those three poisons, greed, hatred, ignorance, into generosity, compassion, and wisdom, among many other things. It would just mean that instead of watering the seeds of greed, hatred, and ignorance, we water the seed of generosity, compassion, of wisdom, of kindness. And those seeds will sprout and blossom. I mentioned the core teachings that the Buddha taught as the four Noble Truths and then the Eightfold Paths. And he taught many, many other things. The Buddha was a very skillful teacher. When people come to him with affliction, with difficulties, he will offer appropriate teachings for that particular person or that group, with the aim of helping the person to see clearly and to transform and to touch happiness. So that's why the teaching of the Buddha is not static. It is flexible. There's also something called the 37 factors that's supporting the path to enlightenment. I won't go into them specifically today, but you can find them to learn about. The Eightfold Path is part of those 37. There are also the 4 establishments of mindfulness, the 4 right diligences, 4 bases of mental qualities, the 5 powers, the 5 bases of power, 7 factors of enlightenment, and Eightfold Paths are all cut together as 37. But the teaching is not just about those 37, there's a lot more. And as the teaching develops throughout centuries, more things were added because of experienced practitioners, of our patriarchs and matriarchs. So again, to make it relevant to that era. Today we are here to celebrate Vesak. We have a ceremony later on, a special ceremony called the ceremony of bathing the baby Buddha. You might have seen already our sisters and brothers have worked tirelessly, and many lay friends who've been here, to decorate the Buddha garden outside and make it into the garden of Lumbini, where the Buddha was born. And we have a chance today to do a ritual of bathing the baby Buddha. We pour the fragrant water onto the body of the statue of the baby Buddha. And we know that babies have potentials, right? All babies have potential. They are seeds, good seeds and bad seeds. So we want to water the good seeds. So when we water the baby Buddha, we are watering the seeds of understanding and of love. We are cleansing the Buddha. We make the Buddha afresh and anew. But as we perform that action, we should contemplate that we're also doing that for ourselves. We are cleansing ourselves. We are beginning ourselves anew, afresh, we are watering the seeds of understanding and love in ourselves through the action of bathing the Buddha. Many of you have been here this weekend, and we practice sitting meditation together. We did walking meditation together. We shared mindful meals, mindful work, mindful conversations, many practices that you've learned here. All aim at watering these seeds of understanding and of love so that they can grow and blossom. So when you come home, go back to where you live, to your workplace, bring these practices home and apply them skillfully and creatively. You may not be able to apply them exactly the way you practice them here, but be creative, so that you can continue this energy of practice in yourself. As long as we continue to practice to cultivate understanding and love, the Buddha continues in us. So find a Sangha in your area to join, or if there isn't one, consider starting one. Bring some close friends who shares your aspiration to practice transformation and healing, and then start a Sangha. Where there is a Sangha practicing the Dharma, the Buddha is there, the Buddha is present. The energy of the Buddha is present. And the three jewels, although they are three, they inter-are. Where there is true Sangha, practicing true Dharma, and the Buddha will be present. I like to end by reading to you the four recollections. This is praising the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha, and the mindfulness trainings. Buddha, the noble teacher in whom I take refuge, is the one who embodies and reveals the ultimate reality, is the one who is worthy of all respect and offerings, is the one who is endowed with perfect wisdom, is the one who is endowed with right understanding and compassionate action, is the one who happily crossed to the other shore of freedom, is the one who looked deeply to know the world well, is the highest charioteer, training humankind, teaching gods and humans, the awakened one, the world-honored one. So these are the description of the 10 titles that the Buddha was praised with. The Dharma. The teaching given by my noble teacher is the path I undertake, the teaching well proclaimed. Is the teaching that can be realized right here and right now. Is the teaching that is immediately useful and effective. Is the teaching inviting all to come and see directly. Is the teaching that is leading to the good, the true, the beautiful, extinguishing the fire of afflictions. It is a teaching for all sensible people to realize for themselves. the Sangha. Practicing the teachings, the noble community in which I take refuge, is the community that goes in the direction of goodness, in the direction of truth, in the direction of beauty, in the direction. It is the community that is composed of 4 pairs and 8 kinds of holy people. Is the community that is worthy of offerings, worthy of great respect, worthy of admiration, worthy of salutation. Is the community standing upon the highest fields of merit in all of the world. The mindfulness trainings, the wholesome way of living taught by my noble teacher, is the wonderful practice that remains unbroken, that remains harmonious, that remains flawless, that remains refined. Is the wonderful practice that has the capacity to prevent wrongdoing and to prevent danger. Is the wonderful practice that has the capacity to protect self and others and to reveal beauty. Is the wonderful practice that is leading to concentration, leading to peacefulness, leading to insight, leading to non-fear. Is the wonderful practice that shows us the way to total emancipation and long-lasting happiness. Happy Continuation Day, Buddha Shakyamuni. Happy Vesak Day, everyone. Thank you for your listening.